There are many ways that you can enhance the colors of your pottery. I do a lot of pitfired, as you know, if you follow my channel. It's an interesting way of creating some very unique colors. I also work with raku, or you can make these wonderful crackled and dark areas of your pottery. And I do sometimes wood firing that creates these wonderful variations of colors. And of course, you can also just use regular glazes. This one just came out, and I love the way that it plays around. But one area of colors that very few potters are actually using is metal lustres, or precious metal lustres. It's like a third layer of color. You typically use it after you pitfired and you glaze. I like to use gold lustres, and this is a good example of one that I did some time ago. It came out okay. It's like a fluted vase, but I mean, it was not super interesting. So I gave it a layer of gold on the top, and now look at it. It shines and it glimmers, and it makes it so much more exclusive. I most often use it gold like this, like in a small part of the pot, like in some of these examples. Sometimes just at the top, sometimes I do it down the sides. And you can do it both on regular glaze pots and, like in this example, where I put it on a very textured wood-fired pot that was actually really interesting in itself, but then I kind of like, let's give it a little more. I guess one of the reasons that many potters are not working with gold lustres is that it is very expensive. I get mine from, most often, I get mine from Karl Jäger in Germany, and it comes in very small bottles. And I think the last one I bought was 10 grams, so a bottle like this, and it was 165 euro, something, so close to $200 for 10 grams. And then you might think 10 grams compared to like regular glazes, where you probably use, I don't know, 50 grams for a vase, and that would be so incredibly expensive. But keep in mind that it's a very, very thin layer you put on. I think actually the first bottle I bought was only 5 grams, and then I used it on some of the pots that you see here and this one, and I think I made probably 10 pots like this. So, and that was only 5 grams. So then when you divide the cost of the gold lustre across all the different pots that you can actually make, it makes sense. And if you're a professional potter, there's a little secret. If you're a buyer, you shouldn't listen to this because it's our secret. But there is a thing in product development and in marketing called enhanced products. I think Shell was the first one that came out with premium oil, and then you pay 2 kroner more or something, you know, per liter. It does cost them a little more to produce, but it's much less than what they charge extra. And the same thing applies to gold lustre. Yeah, it costs something. Maybe I don't know how much I spend extra on gold on this. Let's say it's a few dollars, but my customers are willing to pay much more than that. And so, you know, there's a big investment in buying this stuff, but it comes back and it looks beautiful. So, you know, no matter what, I do it. The way that you work with it is that first you need to apply this on a clean surface. I'll show you in a second how I actually do it. It's a very, very thin layer, so it takes off the underlaying surface. So if it's a shiny surface, the gold will be shiny. If it's a matte surface, it will be matte. If there's little crackles or if there's, you know, bubbles or something, you will get that too. It's like a micro thin layer. They do recommend that you only put it on a white, even glaze. I found that not to be true. You can see on this one, it's a green glaze. It looks beautiful. But it has to be a very clean surface. I will clean it. I'll show you how to do that. Also, you may have noticed when I pull up this bottle that there's a lot of warnings on it. It is not good. There's some chemicals in here to dissolve the gold in it. And of course, if you're using this every day, you're sniffing in, you know, it's not very good. But I use it very rarely. I open the window, and if you want, you can take a mask on. I should probably do that too, but again, that's up to you. So after you have applied it, very thin layer, if you get too thick, it will just turn dark. It don't look so good. If it's too thin, of course, there might be holes in it. So the tricky part is to apply it the right way. You need a brush. Now my brush is still wrapped up because last time I used it, there was a little bit gold left in it and I don't want to throw anything out. So just wrapped it up in plastic and store everything in my fridge. You need a high quality brush. So, I mean, it costs a lot with this. So go out and buy a couple of really, really good brushes. You don't want any loose hairs or anything. It has to be a high quality brush. I applied with the brush and I'm going to show you just in a second how to do that. And then you refire it. So it's going to be a third fire, but it's at a much lower temperature. For this particular Gold Lustre and for stoneware, I fired to, I think I set the program to 720 degrees Celsius. I can check on my kiln, but it's around there. Typically around between 700 and 800, but it's a little bit different whether it's earthenware, stoneware, or porcelain. But it is in that range. Just normal 100 degrees per hour, no hold, no special cooling. It's a very easy fire, and of course, because it's only 700 degrees, it's very cheap to fire. I think actually I give it full speed, and I done a few fires with gold, and it works out great for me. So I set a program on my on my kiln, and I use the same program every time, and it works. Maybe you have to experiment a little bit with that, but it's quite easy. The reason I want to do this Gold Lustre now is that I have over the past few months made lots of pots, and some of them came out okay, like this one, textured pot. I mean, there's nothing wrong. The texturing looks really good, but I think the top of it is like a little bit dull. So I'm thinking of giving some of that some gold. I also have some other pots that are similar, you know, part of them are good, but they need a little bit of funkiness. So I think the gold would be good for that. So let's go and try it out. The first thing we have to do before applying the Gold Lustre is to make sure that it is totally clean. I'm going to start off with this. I'm just going to make a small gold border up here. And I'm going to use clean or pure alcohol for that, because what we want to remove is any dust, of course, and any finger marks or anything, you know, that could limit the Gold Lustre from attaching correctly. This is actually sort of an experiment with this one, because it is, as you probably can see, pitfired, and I never tried to apply Gold Lustre to a pitfired pot. So I don't know if it's going to work, but I'm definitely going to try. So now it's clean, and of course the liquid, the alcohol evaporate, goes away really, really quickly. So now I'm ready to apply the Gold Lustre. As I point out in the description of this product, you should not shake it. I'm not sure why, but you shouldn't shake it. And you should only keep it open for a very short time because it evaporates really quickly, and then of course it gets too thick. You can get something to make it thinner, but it is really good default out of the glass. So we're going to open it. And yeah, I think I got maybe half a bottle here. So just make sure you don't spill anything. It is pure gold. This is 24 karat gold in a 10% solution. And then I'm going to turn it around very, very, very slowly. See, some Gold Lustre has a reddish color. This one is brown. Don't get confused about that, because as soon as you fire it, it will be gold. So I think this is good enough for that. So now I'm gonna put it away, put it in my kiln in a second, and fire it. The second one I'm gonna try, I had for a long time. It's actually really beautiful. This is a gold slip that I got from a German company. It's not as goldy, it's not as shiny gold as the other. And on top here is glaze called hellblau. And I think I'm gonna leave the very top blue, but I'm gonna make a border of gold. So I'm gonna try that. But first, we have to clean it. And this is, unlike the first one, a glazed surface. It is not white, but it's blue. But it is soft, shiny, or even surface. So, except for the fact that it's not white, then it's living up to the standards. So, I think this is good enough. It is sort of tricky to get it completely even, because again, if it's too thick, it'll be dark. Well, I think this is good. This is a wood-fired pot, and I actually love it the way it is, but I tried wood-fired pots. I think I showed you an example in the beginning before, and it turned out so beautiful. So now I'm hopefully gonna do it one more time. And I think I might be putting some of it down in some of these holes. It's gonna be quite crazy, but yeah, I like it crazy. I think that's gonna be good. There's just not enough on this middle part. I think that looks good. I hope it will. The good thing about working with this is that the fires so quickly. It's like one day at the max until it's cold enough to check it. I forgot that on this one, I actually want to do something a bit crazy here, because I want to add some gold to some of these. So sort of get this feeling of gold running down the side. It's sort of a little bit like working in the blind, because you're giving it this black luster of paint, and it's going to be so much different when it's fired. So yeah, I think that's enough. I hope I have enough for this. It's the only problem, or one of the problems with this is that it's really difficult to see how much is in the bottle. It's also drying really quickly, so you can't really mess around with it for too long. So I think this is all I want to do on that. So I'm going to do one more very experimental. This is a pitfired pot, but it looks so great in the black, and I think maybe that gold, added gold up here will make it more interesting. I don't know. I made it some time ago, haven't sold yet, so I'm just thinking, what the heck, let's try it out. So, 2 bands of gold. I have no idea if this is gonna work, but I've never seen anybody use gold lustres on pitfired pots, but let's try it. I think this is gonna be the last one. Just gonna add a very small gold border up here in the top. I think this is delicate. I mean, I've seen potters cover entire pots in gold lustre. I think it's a little bit too much. Now I loaded the kiln, and there's 7 pots. As you can see, I'm not really utilizing the capacity of my kiln at all, but it doesn't cost much to fire this because it's only 720 degrees. And I made so many experiments here with surfaces and pit-fired pots and stuff that I haven't tried before, and I don't want to ruin all my pots, so I'm just going to do this. And it should be done tomorrow, so wish me good luck. Good morning. Now we're ready to open the kiln. And in contrast to my nature, I've been very patient again. And as I said many times before, please don't open your kiln when it's too hot. There's a risk that it will hurt your pottery or your glazes, and it will definitely hurt your heating elements in the kiln. So wait. Besides, you can't touch it when it's too warm. Now the kiln is roughly around 50 degrees, so it's safe to open it, and I can probably remove the pots, at least with some gloves. So it's always interesting. The great thing about this fire is, as I mentioned in the beginning, it's so fast. I put this fire over at, I don't know, late afternoon, early evening yesterday, and now it's 9:30 or something in the morning, and it's already done. So it only takes a few hours to fire, and then of course whatever time it takes to cool down, but it only have to cool down from 750 and not from 1200, whatever you fire to. So let's go and take a look. This looks very promising. I do notice a few things immediately. On all the glazed pots, the gold looks perfect, or as perfect as it gets with me. But it looks like there's no gold at all on the pitfired pots. So maybe that part of the experiment failed. Let's bring them in and take a closer look. Now I look through the pots and all in all, I'm really happy. The ones that I expected to be good, the ones that were glazed, that I already know is good, turned out really beautiful, especially this one. This is probably my favorite. Take a look at that. I love the way that, I mean, the top here, not surprisingly good, but look at all these little goldy spots here. They sort of like shimmer. You can't really see where it's from, and it just comes out so nice. So again, the combination of wood-fired pots, which in itself is outstanding, with the gold lustre is just great. So I think this one, probably my favorite. But also this one that had really good texture, and from the folk art white gilt made some nice breaking over the texture, but was a little bit dull on the upper part. The added gold just makes it look like a million. I probably won't get a million for it, but I'm sure that lots more people will be interested. On the not so good side is this one. I didn't show you how I painted it. I was trying to make a border first up here in the top, but then it was so uneven that it was a little bit difficult, so I spilled a little bit down, and then I thought, well, maybe just, paint it further down. I'm not sure I like that. So I'm probably gonna do a reglaze of this. Maybe some more gold, maybe give it a colorful top or something. I don't know yet. I don't like it too much, but maybe someone do. And this one turned out really nice as well. Look how the gold is. I mean, it does, sometimes the gold gets a little bit uneven, so sometimes it gets a little darker, a little lighter, but I think it gives it a lot of light. And I think the combination of the super shiny gold here and the more matte gold on the side with the sodium silicate texture actually makes this pot really, really beautiful. So I'm happy, very happy with that one too. Even though it's very discreet, I also think that this metal border that we got here at the top also do something really good to this one. So happy with that too. But on the pitfired pots, now I know probably why people don't usually do gold luster on pitfired pots, because, or maybe they just didn't get the idea. But the thing is, you can hardly see it. On this one, there's a little bit. If you look closer here, you can see that there is a little bit of goldish color in the top, but it's very little. It didn't destroy the pot. It may add a little bit of finesse to it, but it's definitely not what I expected. The whole pot, funny enough, turned out a little lighter. I think it's because a lot of the carbon on it evaporated, but that's actually nice. It's a little bit lighter in the whole impression. So I think it's not super successful, but it's okay. The last one I did, the dark tall vase, you can't see anything. I mean, I can see that there's a little bit of a color change, nothing goldy. The good side is, I didn't destroy it. It survived the refire, but the gold didn't add anything to it. So apparently the matte surfaces from the pitfire, and especially a black one, doesn't give you anything at all. But now at least I learned that. And I'm very happy with the good results. So I hope you enjoyed my little test, and if you did, please come back again. I will have a new full video every Sunday as usual at 5 o'clock p.m. Central European Time. And if you like it, please subscribe so you'll be reminded about new videos. Share, comment. Please write a comment if you have other experiences with gold luster or any other metal luster. I'll be happy to hear. So hope to see you soon again.